Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate coming your way, and you'll be sad to hear, or happy to hear, or regardless, you're hearing that I'm coming at you to conclude my holiday movie reviews of holiday-related movies for this particular season. I know, it has to, all the fun has to end at some point, and it's ending right now, or not now, but as soon as this video ends, it'll end. So this is the last holiday themed movie review I'm doing of the season, and I'm coming at you to review not a horror movie, but I don't know. I guess you'd I guess you'd call it I guess you'd classify this as a comedy. Coming at you to review Bad Santa. Now this movie I actually ended up finding looks like, well, this is dated. They put this on clearance in February 21st this year, 2016. So I probably found this sometime not too long after that. I've never seen it. My dad actually had seen it back in the day and actually recommended it. I wished, having seen it now, I kind of wish we would have watched it together, but we didn't. Like after he'd seen it, like I wish we would have then seen it, together. Would have been his second and my first time, but alas, that didn't happen. So it was kind of my dad no longer with us. It was kind of knowing that he'd seen this and liked it. It was kind of a difficult, not a huge deal, but kind of a difficult experience watching it, because knowing him as I watched it, I know what, how he'd react to certain things and stuff like that. So it was kind of, yeah, and a side note, it was a little bit difficult to watch this in a way. I don't know, yeah, it just made me kind of constantly think of my dad, because he had, mentioned that he'd seen and liked this back in the day. I'd never had any interest in it, just because, I don't know, I don't really generally like, I don't know, comedies, and I'm more for, as you guys know, lean more towards Christmas horror than Christmas comedy, but this is, I don't know, somewhere in between. From what I can gather, I'm not a huge, I don't know anything about this movie, but from what I can gather, there was a Bad Santa, okay, theatrical version, and then when, like, I don't know when this came out, but I think when the DVD came out or whatever, it was like Bad Santa, so that was like probably an unrated cut, and then this version's got an unrated version and what they call director's cut, so that to me would mean there's three versions, unless the director's cut is the theatrical. I don't know. Regardless, I don't think the theatrical version is on this particular version. So you've got unrated and director's cut. So I don't know what that Bad Santa is. Probably just unrated. But I picked the longest of the two versions on here, which was unrated to watch. So I figured, more footage, more whatever, more to talk about. So my review is of the unrated version. Looks like the director's cut is shorter by, unrated is like 98 minutes. Yeah, the director's cut is 10 minutes long, or 10 minutes shorter than the unrated. So anyway, you're probably saying, God, get the hell on with the review. And I can sympathize. So here I go with the review of Bad Santa. First off, I'm a huge lover of Christmas music and, Nutcracker when I was a teenager and stuff. My grandma, her grandparents had this, two CD set of the Nutcracker, and it was fantastic, and my mom probably still got it, and it's fantastic. Anyway, long story short, this time of year when I was a teenager and stuff, I used to, listen to Nutcracker Suite, or the Nutcracker music, this time of year. So I think some of that, it's been a few days since I watched this, but I wrote down on my cheat sheet, I love the classical music, so I imagine there's some Nutcracker music in this. If not, I wrote classical music, so there's classical music in it. So I didn't know anything about, of course, since I didn't see this movie or know anything about it, I didn't know anything about this movie. The beginning actually takes place in somewhere with snow. I don't know if it's fake snow or real snow, but the beginning of the movie shows, the character. I'm not going to do it beat by beat, but I'll just say the premise of this movie about this guy is basically this white trash. Billy Bob Thornton's this white trash offspring of another white trash dad, and he's hooked up with this black midget guy, and so this Billy Bob Thornton character, I don't really find this kind of humor funny, where it's just like, he's just like a bum and just a drunk, and I don't find that really necessarily humorous. The only reason I guess it's kind of it gets a pass in this scenario is because he's in a Santa outfit, so it's kind of more like ironic and funny or whatever like that. So the beginning of the movie starts with him just at a bar, Billy Bob Thornton in the Santa outfit. I think he's pretty much in the Santa outfit, I'd say, yeah, 90% of this movie. It seems like pretty much all the time. And he's just like at a bar and he goes outside and pukes, and it's just like, so this is, I think, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, night, or Christmas Eve something, I don't know, whatever. So basically the beginning of this movie sets up the whole movie, which is, he who goes to malls, year after year, presumably a different mall in different states and cities and everything, travels the country doing this. He and this black midget guy, little person, whatever the hell they'd rather be called, go around, and he's actually, since it's quite the pairing, they kind of probably get the job every time, or all the time, majority of the time, it's actually, Santa and elf. So they'll be the Santa and the elf at the department store or the mall that year, and then they'll basically at closing time, after closing time on whatever it is, Christmas Eve or whatever, they'll basically break into the bank or the safe and steal, money out of the safe and, whatever goods they may want from the store. So that's the premise of the movie. That's how it begins, and then then they end up. He's like, oh, after this one, I'm done. This is enough's enough, or whatever. I got enough to, go down to Florida. What's kind of funny about this, he's like, I'm going to go down to Florida and open up a business like a bar on the beach or whatever. And then they cut to Florida, like, months later or whatever, and he's like behind a bar pouring drinks, and it's like, oh wow, he actually did it. And it turns out he's like, some other guy comes, get out from behind my bar. And it's just like, it's kind of funny because you thought, oh, that's surprising. He actually did something with himself. And no, he was just, just being an asshole behind the bar. But I mean, he does a good job at being, I guess this movie for me teeter-totters between, for me, Billy Bob Thornton really just balances a fine line between just trying to be like stuff that normally for me wouldn't be funny. It's really strange. I don't know what it is. I think it's because he's wearing the Santa outfit most of the time. But a lot of, if I'd seen this in a movie where he's just not, wearing a Santa outfit, I don't know. The humor for this movie, like, I could go either way on it. Like, I'm kind of undecided. A lot of it's like trashy. Obviously, the blacks who are the midget or the little person black, and then the Bernie Mac character. Obviously, like in so many, Hollywood movies and stuff, they're, the cliched, something that I don't like because it's perpetuating that kind of whatever, just negative, in my opinion, negative stereotype of, blacks. Obviously, both black people in this movie are kind of the cliched, just swearing. Well, everyone swears in this movie, I think. The cliched kind of late 20th, early 21st century version of black. So that the movie gets some, loses some points for that. The movie is basically about, I think it takes place, after, I can't remember what happens in Florida, but he ends up stealing some rich guy's car, going to his house and just doing something. But anyway, we cut later on, not too long after he's in Florida, we cut to Arizona. The rest of the movie takes place in Arizona. So we just see him in Arizona, and then he gets a call from the midget or whatever, and it's like that time of year is approaching. Of course, it's in Florida or Arizona, you can't really tell what time of year it is. And it's just like, so we basically start what's the last of this particular movie, series of, the small black guy and Billy Bob get a job at this mall where, what's his name, John Ritter. Is this John Ritter's last movie? Might be. And Bernie Mac. I'm confused. Like on this cover, Bernie Mac's got like a badge and a gun. I didn't think he was a cop in this movie. I thought he was just like owned a. I don't know what the hell he is in this movie. I thought he just owned a shop in the mall, and then he's like, just John Ritter character goes to him for on stuff. I don't know what the hell Bernie Mac's character in this movie even is. But regardless, Billy Bob and the small black man end up, of course, getting the job as Santa and the elf. And in comes, I didn't know he was going to be like a key player in this movie, but I think he's introduced a really gross way. I don't know if it's the same kid. I think so, but I think regardless, there's this really gross kid with like just like fat kid with stuff all around his mouth. I think he's eating ice cream cone or something. That's gross. I don't know if it's the same kid. I think so, but anyway, next time we see him, he's got like snot coming out of his nose. Long story short, this movie, basically this fat kind of idiot kid comes into his life, Billy Bob Thornton's life, and I don't know, because Billy Bob's just a bum and really has nowhere to... Oh, he gets kicked out of... Oh, the cops or something are investigating his hotel room, so he has to crash basically at the fat kid's, dad's house. Dad is what's... They tell the kid he's like climbing mountains, but that's code for in jail, which is kind of funny. And grandma, is just like, invalid, just her brains are gone, like that woman in Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, who, the place where Paul Rudd stays. Basically, oblivious grandma, who all she really knows how to do is make sandwiches or whatever. So basically, since she's oblivious, Billy Bob crashes at this house, which is kind of a, more upscale, swanky house or whatever. Presumably because Dad was, an embezzler or something like that. So the movie's basically about just, Billy Bob and this fat kid becoming closer. I mean, they don't really get close until, the fat kid's like, I don't know, I want a pink elephant or whatever, and then he says purple later on, and, the end of the movie actually kind of, when they steal the stuff and he actually, the kids actually kind of get into Billy Bob's character, where when they steal everything at the end of the movie, from the place, he actually steals a pink elephant. And so actually Santa, he does kind of become, in a comical way, he actually does kind of become Santa at the end of the movie, where he, runs to the kid's house to, gets all shot up. Somehow he lives, but it's just ridiculous. They probably... who knows, maybe they even decided to have him live after they shot it or something, because I don't think we ever see his character again after that, so maybe they decided after they shot it to have him live. But it was kind of sad to me, like when it's supposed to be funny, but when he's running up to the house and he gets all blown away and kids see Santa get blown away, something we've seen like before in movies before, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, where a kid will be traumatized by seeing Santa being blown away in front of their eyes. But, gets blown away right in front of the doorstep and, like, lands right there with the pink elephant. So, like, this Billy Bob Thornton character, the irony is he's, like, playing Santa all his life, and not all his life, but for the time we know him in the movie. And he kind of becomes Santa, where he's, like, brings the kid what he wants and stuff. Long story short, I mean, it's not the best movie in the world. I can understand why my dad got a kick out of it. A lot of trashy humor, stuff that I don't particularly like, but I guess because of the, Billy Bob Thornton, I guess his particular whatever, the way he delivers it makes it maybe a little less, crappy than if someone else did it. So maybe he takes the edge off the sleaziness of the movie perchance. So I'm going to go 2 1/4 stars out of 4 stars. So that's barely more than 2. It's 2 1/4 stars out of 4. I found it to be, like I say, a fine. I could go either way. It's just kind of like there's a lot of humor in it that I don't find funny. There's humor in it that I do find funny. At the end of the day, I'd say entertaining. It'd be curious to see. Maybe someday I'll check out the director's cut. I'd be curious to see what 10 minutes. Not that I would remember necessarily, but it'd be interesting to see what 10 minutes, isn't in it, what's the, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, generally, like I say, I generally don't, I don't know, like characters like this that are just hobos and shit, but just because of he's wearing a Santa outfit, it's just somehow a pass or whatever. And like I say, Billy Bob Thornton, I guess maybe also takes the edge off it and makes it a little more... Somehow, it's like his character is just pathetic, but somehow just because the way he does it, or the way he is the character, somehow it's strangely sympathetic or whatever. The fat kid did a pretty good job at just being, like, oblivious, and you'd think that's who he is. Maybe that's who he is, I don't know. But if he's not that oblivious kid in real life, he did a fantastic job being oblivious, just like, or whatever. So there you go. There's my review of Bad Santa. something I never necessarily thought I'd see, but I found the Blu-ray. I mean, we're talking Blu-ray for $2, so who's not going to buy that? Have one extra movie to review in December for you guys, because I know how much you guys probably like me when I do this stuff. So thank you very much for watching this review, and as always, we'll catch you next time.